Hello and welcome to the Chop It Up Podcast, the show that's unfiltered and unapologetic. Each episode will bring you closer to finding your purpose. And for our loyal listeners, a special surprise awaits you at the end. Be sure to listen all the way through. Now, here's your host, Carmisha Superville.
Welcome back to the Chop It Up Podcast. You guys, this is an amazing episode, you guys. And I want to thank all our listeners for listening and championing this podcast. As you guys know, this is it. This is the end of the year. And what better way to end the year with someone that I truly admire? Oh my gosh. And I'm so honored to have on this podcast. Before we give the introduction, I just want y'all to know this is a big deal. All right. I want you to know. All right. So we had to bring in we had to roll out the red carpet for the Honorable Chaplain Lewis-Martin, Lewis Ingrid Martin. Thank you so much. I want to publicly thank you before we even get into the formalities. Thank you for being a woman. Thank you for seeing us. Thank you for being everything that you are. Welcome to the Chop It Up Podcast. How are you?
I'm great, Carmisha. I'm a little bit hoarse today, so pardon my throatiness. Thank you for having me. I'm really humbled that you admire me so much. I actually admire you. It's good that we have young women who are trying to keep some of the work that the older sisters have done going. You know, it's important.
Yes, absolutely. You know, Ms. Martin, as I was looking over your extensive biography, I was just amazed that you started this journey 17 plus years ago in terms of the political journey.
No, way before that. My political journey didn't start 17 years ago. That may be the political journey that you know I have had with our current mayor. I've been in the political game since 1984. I started with Major Owens. And my son was born in 86 and he's 36. So that's more like 38 years ago, almost 40 years. And it's been a great journey. You know, I worked with many elected officials. I helped many judges and lawyers, you know, to become judges. And I've helped many political people gain office. I worked with the Congress member for a very short period of time. And then I went on to teach. But I still continue to work with elected officials. And I worked with Roger Green. I worked with Letitia James, who was our Attorney General when she was running to become the city council member. But prior to her being the council member, James Davis was, and she actually ran against him. And I was on the James Davis team, so we kicked her butt.
Right.
But
James E. Davis?
James Davis at the post office in Crown Heights is named after. He was a council member. He was killed actually in the chambers of the city council. That's why we have the security system that we have now when you come to City Hall. He was a good friend. He was a former police officer. So he ran for council and my council district, the 35th in Brooklyn. And I helped him win that seat. And when he transitioned, I then worked with the Working Families Party as a Democrat to help Letitia James become the council member. So she won on the Working Families ticket, but it was the Democrats who did the work. And I'll say that forever. I worked with Hakeem Jeffries when he was aspiring to become an assembly member, you know, after Roger Green retired, of course, because I did work for Roger. I helped Kareem Kamara. I helped Jesse Hamilton, who was one of my besties. And just a number of other elected officials, even people from not in the borough of Brooklyn. I am from Brooklyn, you know, but I've helped a lot. And a lot of people to become judges, especially a lot of the minority judges, the Black judges, and some of the Latino judges, but a lot. There's more. But I say those, but those are the people in Brooklyn that a lot of people know. You know, I've helped Martin DeLon. I've helped Assembly member, the current DeLon, his son, I can't remember his first name right now, because I always call them the DeLons. You know, just a lot of people, and it's been fun.
It's been fun, but not only fun, it takes a certain level of passion to be in this field for so long. And you're right, I did research. You started in 1983 with Major R. Owens, and later you became the deputy campaign manager. So certainly, Miss Ingrid, you know what's so crazy? I don't know if you know this, fun fact, I worked with James E. Davis. Yes.
I didn't. You didn't work on his first campaign though. I don't
No,
think. It was only a
I
small,
interned.
yeah, it was only a
I,
small number of us, and I don't remember. I was gonna say I don't remember you.
right, I know, no. I interned. So you know Felicia Jackson, his chief of staff back then. Felicia Jackson.
No, I knew somebody named Linda. I don't think
Oh,
Felicia.
Linda.
There was somebody named Linda. I remember when
Gotcha.
there was somebody named Linda. I thought her name was Linda. I mean, I helped him, but I wasn't involved in his office once he won. I just didn't want Tish to win because James was my friend and I wanted him to win. So,
Yeah,
I wasn't formally on his team, but I helped. I did what I needed to do behind the scenes. I
I
got the
gotcha.
community to go vote for him,
He was a great man. Let me share this with you, because I know this ain't even a part of the podcast, but let me share this with you. The day that he was assassinated was, girl, whew, I didn't even know you worked for him. So that's the crazy thing, but I can see the friendship.
I
So
didn't
let me
work.
just,
I worked on his
right,
campaign. Like he didn't pay me.
indirectly.
I'm
Right,
volunteer.
right, right. Right. You volunteered. Right. Correction. Let's make that clear. Right. And also, before we even go there, let's make it clear with your title. You are the chief advisor to the mayor of New York City. All right. We got to drop some bombs for that, baby.
That is my title, but I'm not
yeah,
here representing the office.
you're
So
not right. You're not.
no,
You are
that is my
representing
title.
yourself. Yes, you're representing yourself. And I'm so honored because I wanted us to have this conversation about life, leadership, and legacy, right? You're also a faithful woman. And there were a few things that you said to me, even in our brief engagement, that made me see that you don't just talk it, you walk the walk. And I love that. I love when I meet Renaissance women that really, there's an essence in a person, not only a woman, but in a person that means what they say and show up in that authentic way, right? But real quick about James Davis, because I really wanted to share this experience with you. The day that he was assassinated was the day that I interned, but I was paid. But nonetheless, he was in the office, he had left, and the person that did what they did, he was in the office that day. I was supposed to go with him because he wanted me to kind of get more involved with the political scheme and so forth. But something happened and I stayed back in the office. So when we got the bad news, it broke me. He became so close to my family as well. He was so involved with community and he really lived it. And so to just hear that kind of like, you guys were friends and so forth, it's just amazing. And to see you now in 2022. So let's talk about leadership. This is very big, especially as a woman in power. How has that been? Explain that. Explain your experience in a nutshell.
My experience, to explain it in a nutshell, is difficult, but I will tell you this. As a Black woman, as an African descendant woman in power, whatever that means in power, first of all, I'm a community activist. And I'm very clear about that. I'm a community activist, and I believe that elected officials are elected to serve the people. And that's why I feel so blessed that I work with a mayor who understands that fundamentally. He lives it, he dreams it, he eats it, he sleeps it. So we are in one accord, and that's why we've been able to work in partnership for so many years. I remember when I first started working for the mayor, when we ran his political campaign for the Senate and he won, and he asked me to be his chief of staff. I was taken aback and I wasn't really sure if he actually wanted me because, I am very vocal. I'm a community activist, but so is he. And I was nervous that I would have to give up my identity and stop being the person that I was in order to work with him and for him, because sometimes that happens. But he said, no, you shouldn't have that issue. He said, you have a right, and we'll try to work in partnership every step of the way as best we can. And then we'll see how it goes. He said, but I feel confident it'll work out well. And it has, because he is a community activist too. And the first day that I knew I was going to actually help our mayor run for political office was in a meeting with my former principal at the time, who was Roger Green. And Roger had gotten into some trouble. And there was a meeting that I was able to organize with our current mayor, Eric Adams, that Roger Green had been trying for months to organize and couldn't get organized. But I knew Eric because Eric and my husband were in the police academy together. So I was able to get that meeting organized within hours. And we met the following day. And Roger Green, when I went to pick him up, told me that I could drive him to the meeting, but I can't sit in the meeting. To me, that was crazy. That's ridiculous. I'm like, wait a minute, brother. You've been trying to get a meeting with Eric Adams. He wasn't the mayor then. He wasn't even a senator. He was a police officer. I don't even know he might have been a captain. I don't think he was a captain. He was something within the police department. He might have been a sergeant, whatever he was. Actually, he might have been a captain because it was close to when he was going to run for Senate. So he was in the police department. I said, you couldn't even get a meeting with Eric, and I organized this meeting within hours, and we're in a meeting with Honorable Bill Lynch, and you're going to tell me I can't come in? Well, if I can't come in the meeting, there will be no meeting. I will beep Eric, because we had beepers back then. I will beep Eric and let him know that, the meeting's off because this is what you said to me, and he will never let me be disrespected like you're trying to do. That's not going to happen. So, of course, I ended up being in the meeting, and not only was I in the meeting, my voice was heard. So as a Black woman, that happens a lot, and as a woman, that happens a lot, where the men, not all of them, because I'm not saying that they're all that way, because I would never say that, but a number of men, they're at the good old boys table, I call it, but they got the girls now. And they want to just talk amongst themselves and chatter amongst themselves, and they don't really want us at the table, but they want us to do the work. And then sometimes I would be in, Eric always told people, the mayor always said to people, Ingrid can come into any meeting that I'm in, unless, of course, it's a very highly sensitive principal upon principal meeting, which sometimes they do, which I get. But if it's about doing the work for the people, he already knows, and they will want you at the table, and you may come up with a great idea and say it. They'll act like they don't hear it. Goes in one ear, out the other, in, out, in, out, in, out. And then somebody will reiterate it as if they're iterating it, as if it was their idea. And then they want to have a time out. No, I just said that. How is what he said different than what I said? And I would be dogmatic about it, and I would get them to admit. So, you have to be a little more aggressive sometimes as a woman, and then they want to call you things outside of your name or your title to try to make it seem as if it were you, when it's really not. But, I've been doing it for a number of years. I've established myself. People know me. They know when I'm speaking from a place where I'm about the community. And if I'm speaking on behalf of my principal, I will never, ever, ever overstep my boundaries, because whether my principal is the mayor, the senator, the assembly member, I know my role. I'm a team member, and I don't go over that boundaries. So sometimes it's hard to have those, things in place, but I do. So it's hard
love that
sometimes, but
absolutely.
Yeah. And then the other thing is that women don't like women.
Big on it.
We don't want to help each other. We don't want to help each other. We sometimes want to drag each other down. I'm not about that. I'm not about that. I'm not saying I like everybody that I work with or do business with, because you don't. But if it's about doing the business for the people, then we have to put aside our pettiness and just do the work of the people and for the people. Yep.
Oh my gosh, Miss Ingrid, you dropping gems. Yes. Oh, that's why I admire you, girl. I wouldn't say love, but you like, come you say, I don't love me like that.
You're supposed to love the Bible. I believe, I'm a biblical member. You told me this was about my biblical side. And this is fused with work. But I believe in the Bible. But the Quran, the Torah, I'm probably whatever the Buddhists read from or chant from, says we're supposed to love our neighbors and love our brothers as we love ourselves. It says that in all of the books. Some of the books digress a little bit at times, but it does say that. It didn't say anything about like. I love everybody. I don't like everybody, but I love everybody. So for you to love me, that's what you're supposed to do. So for you to like me, that's better, because I like you too.
Thank you.
There used to be a record out called I Like You a Lot. And I always like that record because I know the significance for me of the word like.
Wow, yeah. My grandmother used to always say that like is a stronger word than love.
Yes.
She used to always tell me that.
And your grandmother, is your grandmother with us, or did she transition?
She transitioned.
All right, but she's with us in the spirit realm. I believe that. It was a wise woman, and she left you pearls of wisdom. I believe that. Just like I believe friend is a more powerful word than family, because family is your bloodline. A friend of mine passed away. He went to see me. It's so crazy because it was in 2006. And it was when our mayor, no. Yes, it was when our mayor was running to become
The mayor.
a senator. Yeah, he had it might have been 2006 or 8, because he was running 7. No, it was 06, because I was coming home from a campaign meeting. So it was when he was running to become the senator. And my friend went to my home to see me and ended up passing away at my home. And I wasn't there. I was on the road with Mayor Adams. You know, we were running around. And when I got home, I saw the ambulance pulling away. And my husband told me, I think Mr. Washington transitioned. And he said the only reason why they took him is because I'm a police officer. Otherwise, they probably would have waited for the morgue to come. So I had to speak at the funeral. And when I had to speak at the funeral, I wanted to call him my friend. But I said, my family member. But I heard a voice, and I hear voices all the time, just letting you know. It told me,
Good voices. Yeah.
It told me to look up the definition of the word family and look at the definition of the word friend. And I did, and in different dictionaries. And a friend is someone that you pick, you select, and they select you. And, a friend is something that's coveted. Family is bloodline. So, and it's true, because I have family members, I'm never speaking to them again.
That's a fact.
They family, but I'm done with them.
Oh, Lord. Miss Ingrid, you're too real. You're too real, girl. Yes.
Keep it 100.
Yes. And it's so crazy you said that. Even as you were talking about that, the Shanquella Robinson story, you've heard of that. The young lady who died in Cabo, the young lady who went away with her friends.
Oh, yes, the one that got beat up. I couldn't remember her name. Oh, let me just explain to you something. For the last year and a half, I stopped reading the newspapers. I only watch Rosanna in the mornings.
Okay.
And
yes,
sometimes
I love her.
Dan Marino. Yeah. I like to tease them. I shouldn't have done that on video, but Dan Marino on Inside Politics. I watch that, and I watch Roseanne. I don't really watch the news anymore, and I don't read the newspapers because I just don't like some of the coverage that they do. I think they're unfair, but that's just me. Some is very good, and some miss out on some things. And that story was brought to my attention because people will send me links, and it's horrible when her so-called friends stood there and watched the young girl get beat to death. Then they went to the house and told her mother that she died from drinking too much or something ridiculous.
Yeah, alcohol poisoning. Yeah, terrible.
And I think they were extradited. They had to go back to their country. Right?
I guess they're working on it right now. So I believe from what I was read so far, one of the young ladies that was on the video doing the assault, I believe the FBI is in the mix of getting her expedited. But it's going to take more, Well, extradited, I should say. It's going to take more because, these things take time. But the fact that you said that, I want to hone into the fact that you said that about friendship and about choosing your friend. I think it's so imperative that we also teach young people, even women, like you were talking about earlier, about the necessity of choosing friends and looking at characteristics. I think for me, Miss Ingrid, and forgive me for saying this publicly, I believe you're a friend. I believe you're a friend of mine. And I'll tell you this, the characteristics that you stand by, you stand in your authenticity. And that's who I am, very unapologetic. You already know, and I love that about you. I admire that about you because that's rare, especially we live in New York City. And like you mentioned in the professional area, whether it's political or otherwise, it can be catty. It can be very competitive. It can be very, you know what I'm saying? And you stand in your authenticity. You stand in your resolute. And I love that. And so I consider you a friend. Let's segue into faith. I want to ask you about that because, we are in the holiday season and people are going through a lot right here in our community. How has your faith guided you thus far?
My faith has always guided me from a child. From a child, I've always been very much aware that there is another side, that there is a creator. When I was little, I didn't really, we went to church, we became Catholic for a little bit, then we became Pentecostal. And I always knew that there was something other than what we have here. I would have dreams that would come true with accuracy. I can look at people and tell them things that they were experiencing, things that happened to them in the past, and things that would happen to them in the future. And I hear voices that the voices talk to me and they guide me, and they've been helpful to me. So some people may think I'm crazy, but I am not, far from. And I believe that everybody has the same ability to tap into the other side, but most people don't. Or most people just don't hear it because they're just not that aware. I almost drowned when I was about 18, and I was a really good, strong swimmer. It was just a freak accident. And when that happened, I heard voices in my ears telling me, she's coming, she's coming, she's coming. And then I heard a voice, you'll never hear your mother call your name again. Although I was a daddy's girl, but I love my mom. I love both of my parents, but I was really a daddy's girl. And I saw the greenest mountains. They were like mountains, but they were all green, just beautifully covered in green grass or something green. And I saw the bluest sky you ever want to see. And I just got totally relaxed, and I did like this, just let myself go.
Floating.
And then I heard a voice say, no, but it's not her time yet. And a snap in my ear, and I got back into stroke. And as I got into stroke, the lifeguard came to get me, and he said, Miss, what happened? We saw you doing handstands, jumping off the diving board, everything. And I said, I don't know what happened, but I do know that I was watching some videos and stuff about learning how to be a lifeguard, because I was thinking about becoming a lifeguard. And they told you when you go 3 times under, you don't come up. And I had gone 3 times. I was even down the 4th time, but I came back up. And so that made it clear to me that there really is another side. Like when they have those books, The Other Side, to me, I could be in that book because I was going, and it was so peaceful and so much, it was serenity. But then I heard a voice, no, but it's not her time yet. And a snap in my right ear, but I couldn't distinguish whether they were male or female voice or whispers. So there's another side. And I remember another time when my brother, my eldest brother, died many years ago, like 37 years now ago. And I went to visit my godmother. My godmother used to live with her dad, and her dad was my mother's godfather. So my mom said, Ingrid, would you do me a favor? And would you go to my godfather's house and, take them shopping for groceries? I was like, sure. So I went to their home and I took them grocery shopping. I went back into their home. I unpacked, I put the stuff away, and I sat and I talked to my godmother and godfather Paris, who I love so. Godfather Yearwood. Yeah. Paris is the other cousin. Yearwood, because I loved him so much. God rest him. And then I left. And like, usually when you leave somebody's home, they'll wait till you get into your car. But my car was a little ways down. My godmother was older. So she just shut the door and I started walking to the car. And I felt this like really weird presence, eerie presence. And when I looked to the right of me, I saw this really weird guy coming across the street. So I started walking slower. So he walked across the street, came where I was, started walking in front of me. So I slowed my pace. He slowed his pace. And then I could hear my brother's voice telling me, okay, stop here and pretend like you're tying your shoe. I had on boots, no laces, but I followed the voice. I pretended I was going to tie my boot. So then the man started slowing down, walking even much slower. Then I heard the voice, my brother's voice, put your hand in your pocket and get your car keys out. Because back then, they didn't have those alarm stuff. We had car keys. And my car had one long seat in the front. They don't even make cars like that anymore. So 3 people could be in the front seat. Right. And then I heard the voice that told me to go on the passenger side to enter. Don't go on the driver's side to enter. Right. And I followed what the voice told me, my brother's voice. I jumped in on the passenger side. Thank God back then when you unlocked the door, you only unlocked one door. And I pulled the door tight, locked it. I got my car key in the car. I don't know how, because I couldn't focus really. And I only had a little bit of space to pull out. But I don't care if I had hit the car in front of me, I was pulling out. I cut my wheels and I was pulling out. And as I was pulling out, the man jumped on the hood of my car and I took off. And so I knew that man was going to try to get me. And my brother's voice gave me guidance and direction on what I needed to do. So I know that there's another side. I know that there's a God. And I thank God for life. And so I'm a believer. And in my line of work, trust me, people come for me all the time, every day. And I just pray and I ask God to clear the path. I don't try to do harmful things to people. I don't. But you already know, if you come for me, you're going to receive me. I'm not perfect. As the mayor says, I'm perfectly imperfect. And that's one of my flaws. I got to learn not to be that way. Like, if you come for me, I'm going to get you back. And I'm trying to get beyond that. I don't know if I'm going to get there, but I don't ever set out to do anything bad to anyone. It's never my intent. I try to do the right thing. I'm a human being. I make errors, but I pray and I always ask God to cover me. So sometimes when people are plotting, and they do, I already know, because I already see it and I feel it. And I just ask God to keep me in that light and in that vein. And I got a lot of prayer warriors on earth, and I got people up there that's covering me too. So I'm good.
Oh my Lord, Miss Ingrid, that is a prophetic message that you just shared with us.
They're all true. And there's more. They're all true. So, I just pray and I ask God to help me.
Girl, well, yes, we're going to continue praying for you, especially in the role. And you know what? As we wrap up, powerful, let's talk about legacy. What does legacy look like for you now?
Well, when you say legacy, for me, I've helped so many young people, including you, along the way, that I'm looking forward to young people who will be in leadership. We have young district leaders that I've helped. We have other young people who are aspiring to become elected officials. I have young people who are teachers. Legacy to me means that as a Black woman, I have mentored many young people who look like me, who are the same sex as I and who aren't. I have a son who's doing really good things I'm proud of. I have a granddaughter who's 5. I just want people to be the best that they can be and to learn some of the little tidbits that I learned along the way. And I hope that is helpful. I think that when we're on earth, it's our obligation to give back in every possible way in which we can. I do that. My team, we did a toy drive, and the other day we got almost 2,000 toys, and the organizations came and picked the toys up right there on the spot. We don't take any toys home, and we donated toys ourselves. So my legacy is just, I know that people will understand me as a giver, a community activist, someone who cares about the people that their principal is elected to serve, and a servant. And for the most part, I'm God-fearing. I drink, I curse, all that stuff I do, but I know that there is a God, and I believe in God. Yep.
Yes, I love it. And you're so right. And you know what? What's on your plate? You're going to be the next president, the next vice.
No, I will not. That's never. I have no aspirations politically. Other than to help people to achieve their political goals who are worthy. I never wanted to be an elected official. I get asked all the time to run for office to this day, but I don't really have that mindset. That's not me. I'm really good at what I do. I like what I do. I make a difference and I impact many with what I do, and I'll continue to do that. And I'm free.
That's right. Free indeed. Free indeed. As we close off this powerful episode, as we look for the future, as we walk into 2023, what can you provide? What type of inspiration, words of inspiration you can provide for our listeners?
Whatever your dream is, whatever your passion is, work towards it. And surround yourself by positive people with good spirits around them, good vibes, good energy. Do not allow anyone to tell you that you cannot do something that you want to do. That's why I've been a success, because people say, oh, you can't do that. I'm going to say, watch me work. If you know that your heart is telling you you want something, keep trying. If you fail, it's okay. You just keep trying until you achieve your goal, and put God first. God has to be in your life. God has to be in the forefront.
Absolutely.
Yep. Believe and trust in the Savior.
Chaplain Ingrid Lewis-Martin, powerhouse, faithful woman,
yes,
prophetic, mission focused, and some say you're the female lion, but you're a giant.
Oh,
yeah,
hey,
you're a giant.
Well, the Hispanic bishops, they call me the lioness of City Hall. That's what they deemed me, and I was humbled by it, you know. And in my chaplaincy, I was given an award, a letter of recognition as a chaplain to gold standards from the president, and I was humbled. I didn't even know that I was going to receive it. I was asked to, you know, I was honored by a church that honors chaplains, because we do the work and people don't even know that we do the work. And I became a chaplain to do what I was already doing, but officially. So,
yes.
Believe in
I
God.
love it. Yes. Ingrid, thank you so much. Yes.
Let me end with this. I love you. You are a royal pest, but for a real good reason. And I want you to continue with all that you do. And I know that you will be a success. And I'm looking forward to you being our future. So the next time somebody, a younger person, will be doing for you what you're doing for me, exposing you to people and interviewing you about the work that you do, because you're hard and you're driven. And I know sometimes you get frustrated and you feel like, why am I doing this? But you're doing it for a reason. And that's why I try my best to be helpful to you. I'm Horace.
Yes, no, I love it. Thank you. I needed that.
And you are a friend to me as well.
Thank you. God bless you. God
bless you too. Have a happy holiday, everybody. Have a blessed holiday. A blessed holiday. You know, enjoy your holiday season.
Yes. Thank you, Miss Martin. God bless you. Thank you guys for listening to the Chop It Up podcast. I hope you were enriched. You guys have a happy holiday. We'll see you in the new year. Bye, you guys.